is the Managing Director of Predictive Discovery, and he'll be running through his projects in a number of countries. Thanks, Paul.
Okay, thank you for coming along. Thank you to PayDirt for organising this conference at a difficult time, and thank you for those who are watching this virtually as well. So I'm here to tell you about a predictive story. It's a relatively simple story. In fact, it's a story of simplification. As you can see on this map, we have a large ground portfolio in West Africa, but particularly because of this discovery, which we announced only 6.5 months ago, we focused very strongly in Guinea, and indeed the investment proposition in the company is very much about what we're doing in Guinea, and that is the focus of this presentation. The other thing that's probably important to say is that in the 10 years that we've been operating as a listed company in West Africa, we have always been focused on making greenfields gold discoveries. We have made some discoveries along the way. Certainly this is the most exciting project that we've come across. And by sticking to the knitting with a bit of persistence, we've actually found something that certainly looks quite interesting. Okay, just a little bit of simple information on the corporate overview. We have just recently completed a private placement, and that's lifted our cash position to $15 million. So we are exceptionally well funded to take us through the next phases of work on the project. And an important aspect of that capital raising is that we brought more institutional investment, new institutional investors onto the register, so we're very pleased by that, and certainly significant international interest in what we're doing, and particularly the Bankan discovery and the story there. We are a minimum-sized board, and obviously a very geologically focused management team, and indeed I've been with the company from the very beginning. Okay, so we're in Guinea. A word or two on Guinea. Guinea is not enormously well known in West Africa as being an exploration destination for gold. And I don't think it would be immodest to say that the discovery that we made in Guinea has actually attracted some other interests and even some Australian interest into the jurisdiction. Certainly, we found it to be more mining friendly than perhaps its reputation had suggested. We found the mining registry system, the most open mining registry system that we've come across in West Africa. And we're actually very pleased that the mining friendly presidency of Alpha Condé has been renewed as a consequence of the recent presidential election, and we think that that's actually significantly important for future, for managing risk and enabling us to go forward with confidence in the jurisdiction and take this through, as we hope, towards a mining development. Sigiri Basin, of course, is part of the Birimian. It has been relatively underdone because of some of these past reputational issues, but we are seeing an increase in mining industry interest in general in Guinea, and we're seeing new mine developments in the Sigiri Basin, which certainly bodes well for what we're planning to do going forward. Okay, so we're on the western side of the Sigiri Basin, in an area that is actually quite well mineralised. We've expanded our ground position recently to hold 358 square kilometres, significant ground position, very elongated north-south. Elongated north-south because there's the structure, the ruling structure for the gold mineralisation there is north-south. And in fact, if you look on that right-hand diagram, you'll see that there's a north-south pink outline. That is the outline of the oxide gold deposit that we've discovered at northeast Bankan, about 1.5 kilometres long. And indeed, other mineralisation that we're finding in that area also seems to be north-south. So we now hold 35 kilometre strike length, most of which hasn't been explored so far, and there's real potential to make more greenfields discoveries in this area. And I would say that there's no drilling in this area done before. So this is just a little animation to show how we got to where we are today. We started off with power auger drilling. Power auger drilling has proved to be the key discovery method in this area, and the reason for that is that we found that the surface area, the surface laterite layer, is in fact partly transported, and therefore you have to look underneath it to find mineralisation. So we did a limited program of power auger drilling. We identified an anomaly above a quarter gram cut-off grade in 18 holes, 500 metres long, 200 to 300 metres wide. It's a really significant anomaly. We reported this in February. Didn't get much of a market reaction. But when we went and followed it up with drilling, which we did in March, and reported the results in mid-April, we got an instantaneous re-rate as a company. We had, in the space of 2 days, a stock price went up 1,000%, and indeed on the first day was the highest one-day rise on the ASX for any stock in the past 3 years. And then, subsequent to announcing the drill discovery, we went and did more power auger on an 80 by 80 grid, and we showed that in fact the oxide mineralisation, this is all, as I say, above a quarter of a gram, probably an average grade of about a gram in those power auger holes, was 1.6 kilometres long. And subsequently also we did a lot of RC and diamond drilling. So we've done a lot of work in the last 6.5 months since we announced the discovery. We've done 14,000 metres of power auger drilling. We've done 10,000 metres of diamond and RC drilling. And so the next slide is really to tell us a little bit about what we found. So on the right-hand side, you can see that outline, that oxide outline in the pink, the pale pink, 1.3 kilometre section. Within that, most of the reverse circulation drilling was done, and that covered consisted of nearly 6,000, maybe 5,500 metres of reverse circulation drilling. And through that, we've identified a body of mineralisation which is certainly interesting and appears to be persisting to depth, and therefore there is very significant tonnage potential in this area. So up until this point, we've done 3 types of drilling. We've done air core drilling, which went down to a vertical depth of about 38 metres. We've done reverse circulation drilling. You can see on that left-hand side a series of reverse circulation drill holes there. They go down to about 75 metres vertical depth, about 100 metres long. And with that drilling, we demonstrated that the overall envelope containing gold mineralisation in the shallow subsurface is several hundred metres wide. In this location, it can even be broader in places. And then on the western side, the left-hand side, we're seeing bodies of mineralisation that clearly persist to depth. It's evident from the cross-section on the left-hand side that a lot of the RC drilling, the initial RC drilling, was drilled in the wrong direction. It was drilled from east to west. Once we recognised that from the first of the diamond drill results, we switched the rigs around and we started drilling from west to east. And when we drilled from west to east, we also, with the diamond drill hole, we were also testing what was happening in the fresh rock. So when we have a look at that cross-section, you can see we've got pale coloured layers. They're the weathered rocks down to about 75 metres vertical. So that is actually the depth of the oxide gold deposit. And then beneath that, in the fresh rock, we got some excellent intercepts. In this case, we got 55 metres of 2.9 grams and a deeper intercept, which was a bit lower grade. Very consistent mineralisation. One of the side effects of drilling in the wrong direction is that we've got a very clear idea of down-dip continuity, and it's excellent. And also a grade distribution within the deposit is, these lodes is evenly distributed, which makes for easy resource calculation and easy mining. And there's an aggregate width on this cross-section of about 85 metres with an average grade of 2 grams down in the fresh rock. And we certainly believe that we can drill this to very significant depth, probably to 250 metres vertical depth, and include that within an economic resource. A couple of other sections just to illustrate that this isn't a one-trick pony. So the one on the left is 80 metres further to the south, and you can see we get exactly the same pattern of mineralisation. Indeed, what we're looking at is a panel of mineralisation on the western side, which is of the order of 50 metres wide, and that persists over a number of sections. The aggregate grade, the average grade is 1.6 grams across that 80 metres of aggregate width that we see in that section on the left. On the section on the right, we're getting about 90 metres aggregate width with an average grade of about 1.3 grams, part of which is in the fresh rock. So certainly there's a real case for drilling this to greater depth and finding a really significant fresh rock mine below. So on the right-hand side of this diagram, you can see the power auger coverage. In the red stars is a power auger program that we're undertaking right now with Sahara Drilling Services, who are actually sitting in the audience here. And so what that power auger, so the first part of the exploration is identified is a probable open pit 1.5 kilometres long, down perhaps to 75 metres, and then a core maybe 500 metres long of fresh rock going down to much greater depths. And then immediately to the west of there, we've got this new drilling program. This is the beginnings, we think, of a new discovery. We're certainly looking forward to putting out results on this in the next little while. Very good results. 16 metres of 3.9 is the highlight, right on the edge of our previous grid. New artisanal workings just to the north, and certainly potential to find another northeast Bankan there. Interestingly, in the vicinity of our drilling, there are no artisanal workings because the surface layer is very low in gold. So this is blind mineralisation that we're identifying here. And then further to the west, we have Bankan Creek, which looked like quite a small system, but as we drill it, we're revising our opinion. So that left-hand cross-section, it looks as if potentially the mineralisation is widening with depth, or in fact that some of those early holes are in transported material, and we think that that's probably the case. 92 metres of 1.9 grams, a really terrific result, and then a zone 100 metres to the north where we're seeing evidence that the transported material is indeed, the surface material is indeed transported, because you can see there's nothing in the tops of those holes where we need to go and do more drilling. So there's real potential to find more on Bankan Creek, and really what this reinforces is that we're at the very beginning of this story. There's real potential to find more in this area. We've got a very large area of strike length to go and explore, and we know there's blind mineralisation, which is a really important element to the future potential here. So we're at a very exciting phase. We're very well funded. We've got a large multi-purpose that's RC and diamond drill rig turning up. We've got a couple of our power auger drill rigs turning. Over the next 2.5 months, we're expecting to do about 15,000 metres of auger drilling to expand the opportunity, and 10,000 metres of RC and diamond drilling. And all of that is designed to give us a framework for infill, both in the deposits we know, so we know Northeast Bankan, to a framework for hopefully the full extent of the Bankan Creek system, and indeed a framework within the prospect in between, which as yet doesn't have a name. And all of that is a precursor to doing a resource drill out. That resource drill out will commence probably it will commence early in the first quarter of next year. We will double up drill rigs. We might even put 3 rigs on the job, and we'll go very hard through to April, and we'll stop the rigs and calculate a maiden resource. And added to that, we are interested in understanding metallurgy. It is still very early days. We do need to characterise the whole of the ore body. The diamond drilling that we've done and we're doing will allow us to do that. We're expecting that metallurgical test work to start and ideally be completed in the first quarter of next year. And so by the time we get to the middle of next year, we'll have a maiden resource. A maiden resource from an absolute standing start in 15 months is pretty fast by most people's measure. And we'll have metallurgical test work and an idea of the treatment route emerging from that. Elsewhere, we have various interests in Côte d'Ivoire and Burkina Faso. We've just retaken ownership, 100% ownership of Burkina Faso, but that's essentially to simplify the ownership so we can find a partner there. We have a joint venture with Resolute. in Cote d'Ivoire, which has been producing some very nice results. But there's no question our focus is in Guinea. We are interested in doing more greenfields exploration in Guinea, but essentially all of our financial and mental focus is on expanding the Bankan discoveries. And that's a predictive story. Thank you very much for listening.